Drew Brees didn't panic. Michael Thomas was a man, 171 receiving yards on 12 receptions. You could not let that happen if you were the Philadelphia Eagles. You knew that coming into the game, and you still let this dude do what he wanted to do, particularly in between the numbers, running the slant pattern. That's what he was doing all night long. And so I look at it from that perspective, and I was surprised at how effective New Orleans defense was. I don't know why, but for some reason, I just didn't expect them to be that dominant, particularly after giving up a 14-0 lead. I give the game ball to their defense more so than anybody else. Well, they showed up and handled their business.
The Saints hit the highest peak probably this year of any team about 2/3 of the way through the season. They had this high-powered offense with the run-stopping defense to match that we didn't see in Los Angeles with the Rams or Kansas City with the Chiefs. So it's not a surprise that they won at home where Drew Brees has always been a different guy. And that whole team has performed much differently at home, especially in a rematch of the game in which they won in a blowout. I thought the Eagles were going to win this game. And I know I'm jumping ahead, but do you mind if I get to Nick Foles?
Do your thing.
For those who would say the Nick Foles magic has run out, I totally disagree. Nick Foles, the first time he got a chance to really start in the NFL, threw 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. His team made the playoffs. Then he goes to Los Angeles, and Jeff Fisher ruins him, as he ruins all quarterbacks. He comes back to Philadelphia, and when Wentz goes down, leads them on a miracle journey through the playoffs and a Super Bowl win against Tom Brady, in which Belichick dared him to beat them with his arm, and he did. And then this year, the Eagles were left for dead. I left them for dead, and Foles played them into the playoffs and went to Soldier Field and got a win there. And I'm telling you this right now. If Alshon Jeffrey catches that pass, the Eagles, I'm telling you right now, score a touchdown on that drive. I'm not saying they win the game, because I would think that there'd be enough time for Drew Brees to come back and get him at least within field goal range. I think the Saints win anyway. But the idea that the magic, listen, Aguilar just has to turn around. The ball's right there. Is that Nick Foles' magic wearing off? Putting the ball in Jeffrey's hands.
Hold on.
Is that Nick Foles' magic wearing off?
Are those rhetorical questions, or do I get to answer them?
You'll answer them in a second, I'm sure.
I'm just saying, you're asking questions.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
They're rhetorical.
Okay.
Well, take them how you want in a second. The point is, this team, that was a great title defense. If you see a champ in boxing lose his crown, but goes out like that, that's a great title defense. Nick Foles is an excellent NFL quarterback. I know he overthrew a few guys, missed a few guys here and there. Many teams would be happy to have him. And yes, Carson Wentz will start. I'm not so sure there's no quarterback controversy in Philadelphia.
Well, I want to go back to Alshon Jeffrey's statement for a minute, because him saying that the Philadelphia Eagles beat themselves is absolutely false. They got beat by the New Orleans Saints because they only had 250 total yards. The quarterback went 18 of 31. They only had 49 rushing yards. And yeah, the straw that broke the camel's back was the interception at the end of the game, the drop by Alshon Jeffries. That's why you lost the game. That's why New Orleans is advancing and you guys are not. And granted, if he did catch the football, who knows what would have happened. But at that moment, you guys got beat by a team that showed up. Yeah, they got up to a slow start, mainly because I think it was a week off and the layoff, and they had to get back in a football groove in the first half. It took them a little while to get comfortable. But I do feel like you guys got beat. The Philadelphia Eagles got beat by a better team that day, because Drew Brees, when it was time to play, he came up and showed up, and that defense just played stellar. Marshawn Lattimore.
And Sean Payton, by the way, let me just say this too. Yeah. Sean Payton, first of all, gutty calls, right? Your own 30, you go for it with the fake punt. It's not that the Eagles, you can't say they beat themselves. They were ready for the fake punt. It's that Taysom Hill is a beast, and they got the first down. And also, here it is. Look, because this dude is one of the most underrated players in football, in fact.
He's their X factor, in my opinion.
But the problem is, and I hate to interrupt you, but the problem with this, Max, is that, again, as I customarily say on this show, I don't want to hear that from you, because they played the Chicago Bears a week ago, and you damn near gave Nick Foles credit for Parquet missing the field goal. This is how the magic. Look, that was when I came up with the line, Nick Foles can touch you, and you too shall be healed. Okay. Because I'm just saying, because you were of the mindset that he had such a profound effect on all things Eagles.
Does that mean, time out, does that mean you have to win every game all the time?
Excuse me. Playoffs it does. Because that's what you were talking
if he
about.
ever loses a playoff game, he lost his magic.
I'm talking about this particular run.
Well, let's look at this run.
Hold on. We are looking at the run. I'm saying to you, based on what you said, I'm not debating the fact that it's not his fault that Alshon Jeffrey missed the pass. I'm simply saying you were utterly ridiculous when Parquet missed the field goal. You're like, everything seems to work with Nick Foles.
That's right.
So why is it that now that they
magic.
lost, it has nothing to do with him?
I will tell you why. Were they outplayed by the Saints?
Defensively, yes.
Yes. Were they outcoached by the Saints?
I'm not going to say that.
I think so. I think they were.
I'm not going to say that.
Did the Saints have more talent? Yes. Were the Saints playing at home? Yes. Had the Saints already beaten their brakes off earlier this season? Yes. And yet here we are in the fourth quarter, late in the game. The Eagles are driving down the field in a one-score game. So if you lose like that, the magic wears off.
I can use that analogy and go like this. Well, excuse me, the Eagles played the game last week. The Saints had 2 weeks off. A little bit of rust might have played the fact of them falling down 14-0. It might have been worse had they played and didn't have to take a rest and didn't have rust. I could use that argument, but I won't. All I'm trying to say is Nick Foles is a very good quarterback. I think Jacksonville should look at him. I think several teams should look at him. No question. I wouldn't mind if the Giants looked at him.
That's right.
Nick Foles can play, but you and others were talking.
It is fair for you to say.
You and others were talking as if Parquet, not butter, Parquet. I mean, this guy missing a field goal. Oh, that was Nick Foles'
Wait,
man.
Matt, let me just say this, because you said I would not say that there's definitely not a quarterback controversy. Yeah. And we heard Adam Schefter say earlier, whether it's on SportsCenter or Get Up, that there isn't one. That they absolutely love Carson Wentz. He's going to get a long-term deal. Nick Foles has a $20 million player option, and they love Nick Foles as well, but they cannot pay him. He's not going to be there.
He won't be there.
There's no controversy.
Think not. However,
Adam Schefter, he knows
we have
things.
just seen 2 consecutive years in which Carson Wentz got hurt, and Nick Foles, one of those years, played them to a Super Bowl. The other year led them to the playoffs and the playoff win on the road against the best defense in the league.
I get it, but according to
Schefter, they may want to keep both guys for another year.
Not for $20
million. $20 million. You can't.
Not for $20
You would
million.
think you can't. I'm
Not
just
for $20
saying.
million. Not for a backup. You're not paying the backup $20 million.
According to Adam Schefter.